I'm 38. I manage a mid-sized architecture firm in Lisbon, Portugal. I've been building it for almost 12 years, starting from a tiny studio apartment where I drew floor plans on recycled scraps of paper and pitched to clients who barely looked at me. My family had watched me struggle for years, quietly assuming I would never rise above my supposed limitations. The betrayal had been brewing for over a decade, but it wasn't a sudden strike. It was careful, calculated, and painfully personal. After my parents passed away, my uncle, my father's younger brother, took over all family affairs. Slowly, subtly, he began to erase my contributions. He sold properties without telling me, moved accounts into his name, and began making decisions about assets I had earned, as if my existence was irrelevant. It started with the small things: "We handled the paperwork for you, don't worry about it." Then escalated: "You weren't even aware of the investments you supposedly owned, don't let it bother you." The final straw was when I discovered that my name was missing from contracts I had financed personally, including a beachfront property that had doubled in value under my guidance. I tried to reason with him. Calm, documented, logical. Each email, each meeting, each phone call met with dismissal or thinly veiled ridicule. "You've always been naive," he said once. "It's not about you, it's about family." I realized then that family, in this case, was code for control. They didn't want to share, they wanted dominion. The confrontation came quietly before the trial. A conference room, neutral walls, a polished table. My uncle across from me, his lawyer beside him. My cousins sat quietly, half smiles on their faces. My aunt's eyes, sharp and calculating, never left me. "You've caused a lot of trouble," my uncle said smoothly. "It's clear you've been trying to take control of things that weren't yours." I let him speak. When he finished, I leaned forward. "You sold my property," I said. "Without permission. You moved money I earned. And you told everyone I was powerless." He shrugged. "Your feelings don't matter," he said flatly. "You were convenient when it suited you, but that's over now." It wasn't anger that I felt, it was clarity. My voice didn't rise. I didn't shout. I just stated facts, each one a measured blow. "You've been erasing me for years," I said. "Every asset I touched, every decision I made for this family, you tried to claim as yours. But this stops today." Trial day. The courtroom smelled of polished wood and anxiety. Family members arrived with confident smiles, lawyers in place, expecting a simple victory. They believed the narrative they had constructed over years, that I was weak, naive, and had nothing substantial of my own. The judge called the case, and my lawyer began presenting evidence. One by one, documents were read aloud: contracts, property deeds, investment accounts, ledgers. Every item my uncle assumed he could manipulate was accounted for, legally and transparently. Every asset he thought was family-controlled bore my name, my signatures, my decisions. The room shifted. My aunt's hand trembled. My uncle leaned forward, eyes darting. My cousins whispered among themselves. The pivotal moment came when the judge held up a portfolio of properties and accounts, each documented meticulously with my name and authority. The words echoed. "These assets are legally recognized under the petitioner's ownership. Any claims to the contrary are dismissed." Silence. Complete, frozen silence. I realized, in that suspended moment, that my family's power over me had always been an illusion. They had relied on my silence, my willingness to be underestimated, and my desire to avoid confrontation. The courtroom exposed the truth: I had always been the one holding the real power. I walked out of that courtroom feeling strange and unfamiliar. There was no joy in the victory, not in the way movies show it, but a quiet sense of self-respect, the kind that can't be given or taken. My uncle avoided my gaze, my aunt's smile was gone, replaced by an unspoken acknowledgement. I didn't gloat. I didn't celebrate. I just moved forward. The aftermath wasn't dramatic. Relationships were not magically repaired. My family did not suddenly treat me with respect or affection. Some members retreated entirely, others remained distant. But for the first time, I felt free. I didn't have to explain myself, justify my choices, or allow anyone to undermine me. I was no longer negotiating my self-worth with people who had never valued it. That night, I sat alone in my apartment, looking at the skyline of Lisbon. The city lights reflected off the Tagus River, quiet and constant. I allowed myself to breathe fully for the first time in years. I thought about everything that had brought me here: the small studio, the late nights, the early mornings, the careful documentation, and the refusal to allow anyone to define my life. Power isn't always loud. It isn't always explosive. Sometimes it's quiet, patient, and built on the foundation of knowing your worth. My family believed I was powerless because they never bothered to see me as an equal. But strength doesn't need acknowledgement. It doesn't need applause. It just exists, steady, undeniable. Looking back, the betrayal hurt not because of the money, the properties, or even the public humiliation. It hurt because it came from people who should have known better. But the lesson I carry is simple. Boundaries are not negotiable. Self-respect is not conditional. And dignity is not earned through someone else's approval, it's claimed through your own understanding of your worth. I don't speak to most of them now. I maintain necessary contact with a few, but the dynamic has changed. I no longer shrink to accommodate expectations, and I no longer assume loyalty where there is only convenience. If there's a message here, it's this: silence does not mean weakness. Generosity does not mean ownership. And being underestimated is not a liability. It can be a shield, a quiet strategy, and, ultimately, a revelation. My family once thought I was powerless. The courtroom, the facts, and the clarity of truth proved otherwise. And in that proof, I found something far more important than victory. I found myself. People often ask if I forgive. I don't dwell on it. Forgiveness is not necessary for self-respect. What is necessary is recognition of your own strength, and the courage to stop allowing others to define your value. If you've ever been made to feel small by those closest to you, remember this: your worth is not negotiable. Your dignity is yours to claim. And sometimes, the quietest, most unassuming people are the ones who hold the greatest power. I walked into that courtroom underestimated. I left unshaken. That is a lesson worth more than anything they tried to take from me.